Hello, it's Flabastro here again with a new guide. This time I'll be going over a build order for Infernal Vanguard in the patch 0.3.2. Which, to begin with, my overall impression is that this is a pretty good patch for Infernal. Infernal vs Infernal matchup got more dynamic, and it's just more fun to play. So I'll be making a separate video on that. But in Infernal vs Vanguard, there's a few small changes, especially the Hellborn change that just makes it a lot nicer to play. And even the small miasma buff helps. So I'll be showing you a general build that you can use on small maps, and then a slightly different opening you can do on bigger maps. Like this, we are starting on Titans, which is of course one of the smaller maps. So yeah. Of course, right away we sent our Hexen on the usual trip, finding the health flowers, and then I like to make an instant Iron Vault at the start of the match. And this is, you definitely can go Shrine first, even on smaller maps, but this is just overall safer. So, while we are collecting the health flowers, so that the enemy dog won't be able to use those, we make an instant vault, and then at 11 workers, we will send 2 of them down on attack move to the expansion. It's the body system, so they will be able to handle the dog, and one of them will make the shrine here. And once it's safe, the other one can go back for now. We are just picking the flowers here while on our way to scout. And we will be going to 13 out of 15 supply. In general. This time I made the meat farm a little early, it seems. But generally speaking, you will want to be at 30 in supply when the Iron Vault finishes, so you can make the brood. There we go, 13 out of 15. And we make the brood. And after that, or slightly before, depending on your exact money, you can make the meat farm, which you usually want in a defensive position around your workers. So it can help protect them. And my Hexen got a pretty good scout here, sees that there's no gas therium mining, so that means it's just gonna be like economy and lancers at the start. I'm also sending my first brute over here just to harass a little, since I saw it's a command burst first and the barracks is kinda late. This is really not something you need to do. So I'm just distracting the enemy, taking a lot of their mining time. There is no deeper purpose behind this, it's just some early game harass that you can do. Forcing a sentry post and taking a lot of mining time. Meanwhile, after we have fully saturated our Luminite mine, I'm just taking this back after the sentry post is done. After saturating the Luminite mine, we of course rally to our Therium. And then we start taking our camps. Next we will want to make a conclave. There we go. And the early conclave is not for units. This is actually very important. You don't want to make any bonds with this build. But you need this for getting the fast miasma upgrade. And of course it's also good to have in case you need to make some fast beavers to counter some Vulcan rush or whatever. But you don't want to make bonds. Just let it sit there and get the upgrades. Since you got the first Iron Vault early, you will have some charges there, and you can make units for a while. But overall, we will want a second Vault here soon. Once we can afford it. Oh yeah, and of course, we take a fast third base of the one Vault, I forgot to mention that. So one Vault, double expand. And I usually make Shroudstone at my second expansion to help keep it safe, and on Titans this is a very nice spot for it, which I mentioned before, because it also protects this area and makes troop movements for the enemy more difficult. So yeah, at this time we are just making economy, getting our upgrade buildings going, getting our tech going. I have a greater shrine now. Just focusing on getting the camps for some extra income. And our third is up, the Shroudstone is almost up, so it's somewhat safe from rambis. It's not like I'm floating a lot, but my second Iron Vault is a bit late. And as your first tech unit against Vanguard, usually want a Hellborn. Because after the changes in this patch, it's now very powerful against Lancers. And that makes it very much easier to deal with early biopressure. And also, it's gonna help you zone out the Exos with Brutes, because if you have Brutes, the Exos can't dive on top of you. And if they're not on top of you, then you can just shoot at them from the range with the Hellborn. That's the general idea. And we can see that there's some early pressure coming. They're already getting a bit softened by my Shroudstone. The Vision Tower, of course, hosts me. So we will be moving to intercept, making more Hellborn and more Brutes. And of course, behind this, we are starting with the Brute upgrade. I prefer this at the moment to the Vanguard upgrade, because I don't really make Vanguards in this build, like maybe a couple, but it's not a high priority. But Brute upgrade is very useful. And in the Ritual Chamber, we probably already got the first Hexen upgrade, but you can't see it on the Hexen itself. But we should be moving on to Miasma upgrade soon. There we go, yep. So the ultimate army composition you really want here is Brute, Hellborn, Hexen with Miasma. And if you're playing against Bio, then that's pretty much all you want. And you will want at least one Conclave, maybe a couple, just in case you need to get some emergency anti-air defense out. But generally speaking, this is the unit composition you want. You just want more of these. And if the opponent is adding Vulcans, then you will want to add some Magmadons to deal with them. Like, Hellborn can actually deal good damage to Vulcans, but you will need the stun from Magmadon to actually deal with them, or they will deal too high DPS to deal with. And while the Miasma is not finished, I see there's an attack coming. You can, of course, leave some Venom traps. It's very, very good defensively in the interim, as you can soon see here, because the enemy army is still a bit bigger at this point. But that's a massive connection from the Venom trap, like, hits the whole army. And then the Hellborn from behind will very quickly melt the Lancers in the front, and then you just have Brutes with beams dealing with the Exos, with the Hellborn hitting from the back, and it's not a very bad situation for you. And our Miasma should be about finished now as well, so after that we will be in a very good position to deal with these armies. There's a bit of an annoying drop play coming. Of course, we already have our Twilight Spire for the Elder Shrine, which is in fact already finished. That's a pretty decent timing for it. But it's nothing special. If you're not supply blocked, then you can of course make some Shadow Flyers to help with the dropship, but overall, yeah, drops are nothing too special. And once you have your tier 3, of course, your highest priority is getting the Molten Touch for the Hellborn. And after that, depending on the enemy army composition, you will want either the Brute upgrade, more likely, or the Magmadon upgrades if you're dealing with mech. So yeah, once you have this army composition, it's a very comfortable situation for Infernal in my opinion. So this, especially against Biot, is very powerful. So now we can just push into the enemy. We'll take the Vision Tower. And of course drop some effigies, so you can start making permanent effigies here. And as you may notice, Okay, I do have a couple of accidental cons here. I don't think I made them on purpose, or maybe I did when I see some error. But anyway, generally speaking, there is like no cons in my army. You get the infest from the miasma, and cons don't really do much DPS anyway. So yeah, as long as you just keep the miasma active, the bio army can't really do much to you. And with the brute upgrade, you are making so many fiends that Exos can't really deal with them. And that's pretty much how it works on a smaller map. Now I will also show you a opening on a bigger map, which pretty much is, I would say, Isle of Dread and maybe Ruination, where you can open like this. So on these maps I like to go actually Shrine first, so I will show this as well. Because there is not gonna be any super fast rush due to the longer rush distance, so you can be a bit more economical. So yeah, again we send the Hexian scouting. From 11 workers, we will send 1 worker to the faraway expansion to make the shrine first. After that we will make 1 or 2 more workers and then send 2 workers here to both handle the dog and to make buildings. It's always very difficult to get the scout on this map because it's a long run distance against the dog and there are not really any health flowers on the way, so the dog is just very annoying when it's biting you on the ass. So I don't really play this smartly. Probably at this point you want to just send a skull to scout and teleport back. But yeah, we are gonna be making both Vault and Conclave at the same time here. And I like to make them in the front, so the units are more easily able to join the action. So yeah, I just want to see if there's space here yet. In the end, I didn't really get a good confirm because I saw the Lancer, so I wasn't able to go there on time, but at least I saw that it has very fast units. Which, of course, isn't awesome, since I went Shrine first. The enemy is in fact one-basing me, which is a bit unusual on this map, but I guess the idea is that it's unexpected and that's why it's gonna work. Anyway, once again we saturate the Luminite and then we rally to Therium. And of course I prefer this position for your expansion if it has both Therium and Luminite. Then you want it as close to the Luminite while hugging the Therium. So yeah. Even though the enemy like rallied here straight away, since the rush distance is long, it's still fine. The units didn't arrive here on time. Oh yeah, my Hexen actually got out with 1 hit point, so he probably managed to come kill it. So that's why I kept it all the way back there. Because there is really no health flowers nearby that I can take. This was not great losing these units, of course. Speed camps are always a bit hit and miss. But yeah, we are just making workers, and we are probably sending an imp here to make a 3rd base, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not quite yet, since I couldn't afford it, I guess. But that's usually gonna be my priority around this time, once I have the money for it. So yeah, now we're getting ambushed by Lancers, while the dog baited my units here, so this is not gonna be great for me, of course. But it's not like I have many units here, so it is what it is. And I also see a surprising hedgehog, so I can see that I'm getting a very dedicated offensive coming my way. So I realize I need to start a Greater Shrine very fast, because I'm gonna need tier 2 units against this, otherwise you can't fight the hedgehogs. So basically, at this point I realize I'm gonna need to get early beavers. So I won't be making more points here, I just build charges while I wait for these upgrades to finish. And I also need to save the money for it, of course. I am pretty Therium heavy, so that's good for the weavers, but of course my army is not very strong at this point. Okay, here come the weavers. And with 2 of them at the same time, I can kind of fight this army. Even though I don't have much else, then I'm adding more brutes to tank for them. Yeah. And now we're kind of holding this, even though it looks nasty for a while. Back to our tier 2. And now we're adding more production. Focusing on getting more Luminite going, so I can get more units and more economy coming. But since then I was pretty committed to that first push, I'm in a pretty decent economical situation. The opponent seems to be trying some kind of run by, but it's a bit unclear what it is. And we are getting some nice damage done on his army for free, that's always nice. And yeah, this time I'm getting the Magmadon because I saw the Hedgehogs. I know it's gonna be more like mech heavy, so there might be Vulcans. So this is probably gonna be more useful than the Brute upgrade. And of course we also get the Twilight Spire, so I get the fast tier 3. Ritual Chamber is a bit more undecided, like if it's heavy mech then you don't really want Miasma. Maybe worth just getting Plague Access in that case. And keep a few Gaunts with the army for the Infest. But mainly you will just want tier 2 units with some Brutes to tank for them. So yeah. Now that I see that there's no more follow-up coming and I get my camps back, I'm starting to feel safe and I'm finally expanding here. It's later than I expected. But yeah, the enemy also had pretty bad economy behind this, so we are kinda fine. But yeah, I don't usually make weavers by default, but as you can see it's a cool like counter unit, and of course it's gonna give you more value over the game if you do make it. Here I happen to be standing in a pretty nice spot, getting a free kill right away, always nice. And yeah, the Hellborn can deal with these Lancers very easily, and you can keep zoning out these Hedgehogs, so... Basically just tier 2 units, maybe even a few more Weavers is pretty good against this early game mech-based army. I did go for the Miasma after all, since he seems to be... Like, I haven't seen any Vulcans after yet. I did see that there's like Hedgehogs and Lancers, so if he stays around that army composition it may be useful. Or maybe he makes a transition. I guess I just figured I might as well get the upgrade because nothing else to do here. But it's not really necessary against this army. Or at least you shouldn't get too many Hexen, like maybe up to 5 or something. Yeah, we are just expanding, we are taking, Elder Shrine is on the way. And of course, from Elder Shrine as well, you will want first the Hellborn upgrade and then in this case the Magmadon upgrades. And expanding some more. It's always a good idea to keep expanding if you can afford it. Which in this case I can. I'm actually floating a bit, so I'm adding more production. They are obviously a bit late or I wouldn't have this much money left over. Yeah, Elder Shrine is on the way, so we should be starting our tier 3 upgrades. I also see some air, so I'm adding a few Gaunts to support this army. Because Hellborn alone is not amazing against Hornets. Having a few hex Goins as well will help with that. My tier 3 upgrades are kinda late, now I'm sorting them. So basically I will want to wait for my Hellborn upgrade and then I can push into them. Until then I'm playing it kinda carefully. Oh yeah, and since I saw the Hornet, I added one Shroudstone feature on my bases. Just to avoid losing a ton of workers if the Hornets happen to do like a run by in my base. It's annoying, but you do what you got to do. And I'm checking if there's already a base here. But doesn't seem to be one, so I figured I'm in a decent position. But there's actually a drop coming my way, and it's an Atlas drop, which is interesting, a bit unusual. So after confirming there are no base here to kill, I'm heading back home to help defend. He used the bubble to keep this alive, so I'm trying to not lose all of my shadow flyers on it before it expires. And yeah, we are just adding more Hellborn, Magmadon, Brute. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I have a few Hexen for support. They help with his sweeping at least. And having a few shadow flyers, when you see that the enemy likes to do drop plays, is always good because it's gonna stop him from microing his Atlas with the dropship during battle. This is very annoying here. Doing this kind of harassment. Like, the damage is ultimately kind of limited. I haven't lost many workers, but it's very annoying to deal with. Keep having to send units to deal with it. But since I'm on this side of the map, I'm just pushing down from here. So my attack is also defending my base at the same time, and I'm expanding back here and here. Just keeping those expansions coming. It's always a good idea to try to keep your rank low. Nice. Here went to Atlas. Of course, there's many more of them. But apart from the Atlas, he doesn't have that much that actually deals damage here. This is one thing you need to be careful about when you have like a heavy Hellborn army. They really like to block all the other units. Like, they have a huge hitbox, like way bigger than you would think, in terms of blocking other unit movement. But yeah, you can see that I actually crushed the army very easily, just with this army composition, so yeah. That's about it. I hope this was useful, and like I said, I think it's a very good patch for Infernal, so I think you should definitely enjoy it while you can. Hope this was useful for you, and you can of course watch me live on twitch.tv/filibuster. I don't stream quite daily at this point because I'm very busy this month, but you can definitely watch me live there. And I will see you guys later with more guides. For now, peace out.